Hey folks, my guest today is Rima Al-Sheikh. She's a three-time founder and engineer who has a proven track record in bringing her technology to market. She's helped companies of all sizes, startups and scale-ups, and along with Fortune 100 companies, research, build, and ship AI and software to production, serving millions of consumers per day. Rima, you ready to take us to the top?
Yeah, let's go.
So just to be clear, you mentioned all those customers you work with. Did you start this with an agency?
Begin, no, Begin is a platform from the get-go. So we're still pre-launch. At the moment, we're still, testing with a select customer group. Yeah.
So walk me through that. How many customers are you testing with today?
We're testing with a 10 small selected group of customers just to test, the platform viability and feasibility before we go
And
GA. Yeah.
and so how did you find these folks? Is this cold outreach or friends of yours or what?
Well, through the years, through like 10 years, I've had the luxury of working with a lot of different companies in the tech space. So it wasn't very hard for me to kind of like select the best customers who are tech enabled to test and provide feedback. Yeah.
Mhm. Um, what's like? Can you talk about any of these customers and how they're using you in this testing phase?
Yeah, for sure. So we have, we worked initially with a dating app who was testing our product to detect fake profiles. So, I mean, Begin AI is really useful for customers who are scaling their products so that they can, as customers scale, they hit scale challenges. So they're like, we have a lot of customers using our product. We need to find a way to personalize the experience to them or detect, fraudulent interactions. And large players found a way to make these scale challenges meaningful to them and turn them to their advantage. Like, Amazon recommended revenue is really a large chunk of their revenue. Or you can look at, some dating companies like detect fake profiles and maintain them in a particular contained environment and so on. So what we do is we provide these solutions to scale ups without having to build their own in-house expertise or data platforms or hire machine learning engineers, which take a long time.
That's right.
So yeah, so that's the kind of like testing we've been working on, detection of fake content and
And
recommendations.
do you make these 10 customers pay for the test or is it free?
At the moment, it's free because for us, we're building a very challenging platform. So for us, really, it was about proving the viability of the technology first, and now we're getting to the point where we're getting ready to launch. And then as we launch, I'm confident that some of these customers will turn into paying customers.
And Rima, you keep saying we. How many folks are on the team today?
Great question. We're about 10 between part time and full time. 6 is core team full time.
6 full time. And are you the sole founder?
I am the sole founder. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Very cool. Everyone says you have to have a co-founder. Like you go find a co-founder. Why'd you decide to go at this yourself?
Well, to be honest with you, like I started this because I was trying to solve a very small problem, and tinkering through the problem, I found a very general purpose solution, and I was like, holy moly, this could be huge, because I found a way to get companies to work together to enrich their data sets in a private way without compromising the security and their
Sort of like a
IP.
data lake, something an anonymized
Yeah.
data lake or something.
Yeah, exactly. Well, think of it as like an ecosystem of players who are working together, like to fight scam or
Ah,
build customer experiences across devices like cars, watches, etc. So when I found this process to do this solution, I thought this could be huge, but I need to talk to someone like to figure out if I'm like, am I living in my head? So I started calling potential customers and I wanted to try to find a co-founder, but I was already flying at a high speed and trying to catch up someone to where this is going felt like more of a distraction than actually, positive value.
so Rima, are you rich? How are you paying 6 people full time with no revenue yet?
We raised the pre-seed round, so we have
Ah,
yeah.
Oh, what's going on there, YouTube? Good to see you guys. Now imagine this. You love watching these interviews with SaaS founders, but imagine if we took all of the valuation data out from over 2,807 interviews I've done manually. Saves you a lot of time. Well, we've done this. We've built it into the beautiful interface inside of FounderPath. Check this out. I'll show you how you can access this in a second, but you log in, you connect your Stripe account, you see your valuation real time. You can see what it changed over the past 88 days and even set goals for valuation this year. Now, the secret to valuation is there's many different ways to value a SaaS business. So the reason you're going to see 3 or 4 different valuations inside of your FounderPath dashboard, this is all free by the way, is because depending on who's doing the buying of your SaaS company, you're going to get a different valuation. A VC is going to pay a different valuation. Private equity firm is different. If you're going to do a minority sale, that's different. And if you sell the whole business, that's a different valuation. You can see all those when I hover over here. Right, so the teal is what a VC would pay, yellow is what private equity, and red is if you sold the whole thing outright. Now, what's cool about this is not built off random data. Again, you guys hear these interviews on YouTube. All these data are built from real-time valuation data points founders share with us on the show. So traction, 1.2 million, seed round, 3.7 raise, they sold 22% of their business. Go in here and filter by the event. Maybe you only want to see companies that have sold the whole business. Well, here are a bunch that have been acquired, the valuation and the multiple. Maybe you're going out right now and you're raising your seed round. Well, go in here and look at all this recent seed deals that went down, what they raised, what valuation they raised at, and what percent that they sold. There's never been a larger data set of SaaS valuations than what you can get now inside of FounderPath, and we're thrilled to bring it to you. All right, we're going to go back to the YouTube video here in a second, but if you want to check this tool out, if you want to jump in and sign up, you can check it out for free to get your valuation at this link, founderpath.com/products/valuations. Or if you go to founderpath.com and hover over products, click on get your valuation here and go ahead and sign up to give it a whirl. Again, all that valuation data live right inside the platform. I hope to see you there. All right, let's jump back into the interview. Okay, so how much did you raise in the pre-seed?
$1 million.
Okay, so now the story is making more sense. So pre-seed, when did you raise that?
It was December last year. So December 2021, yeah.
2021. Okay, so you raise $1 million pre-seed. Now, most folks pre-seed sort of like $1 million on a $5 million cap. Was $5 million your valuation, something like that?
No, it was 10 pre.
Okay, so you're a great negotiator.
Well, the technology we're building is really hard. I mean, it's if you look at what we're doing, you might think it's a crowded space. Everybody's trying to simplify workflow and machine learning, but we're really taking it a whole new, level by doing all the processing on devices, and that basically eliminates a year from the timeline of production for companies. So that's really significant, and I think this company can be really huge.
Rima, I love how you're betting on yourself. You've done two things where everyone else, this is the most two dilutive events in a company's history. Your co-founder and your seed round. You're doing it 100% yourself. And most people sell 20%, 25% their seed round. You only sold a little under 10%. So yeah. I just love that you're betting on yourself, going all in. This is just fantastic. Now, people are going to be listening going, wait, what did her deck look like? How did she get $1 million on 10? Is she an exited founder? Why did investors believe her? Tell me more about that.
Well, I mean, what I am building is something that I know inside out. I can talk about it for years. So I've, for the last 10 years, I've been dealing with scale challenges. So I've helped companies of all sizes to go from having a few 100,000 users to dealing with those million customers hitting their databases at scale.
What are some of those companies? Can you name a couple of them? Do we know them?
Sure. So in... I'm just rolling through all the NDAs in my head. But
hold on. There might be a better way to do this. I can go to your LinkedIn, right, and read off some of your historic, right? So Lixar, fueled by BDO, you were the data and AI practice lead, right?
Yeah. So we had about 50 data engineers, data scientists, helping all kinds of enterprises in the automotive industry, in airlines, airports, healthcare. We've helped a lot of different companies deal with some of these scale challenges that I'm mentioning and building their data platforms.
Before that, you were a lead software engineer at LiquidNet. Before that, you were CEO and co-founder at Mocus.io, which looks like a dev shop, right? Is that what that was?
Mocus.io was an automated dev shop. So we built a 300 engineers network, and when we built an algorithm that can build teams for the task at hand for releases. So that was a cool one. Actually, we made about $1 million in revenue in the first year of operation. So that's one of the
So
valuations.
what happened to it? How much did you do in 2017, or was million your best year?
We saw was it in 2017? We did, yeah. So like we first there was like pre-launch activities, obviously, so preparations, and then as soon as we launched, we got to like the $1 million in revenue about by the end of the year. So say like we reach close the year around like 100K ARR.
And I was gonna say, and just to be clear though, when you say 100K MRR, that's project volume, right? You have to pay out a large chunk of that 60-70% to the engineers, right?
Correct. Yeah. That's correct. Yeah.
That's
it was getting
standard.
optimized over time though. So like it would go, it would start at like 70% and then goes down to like 60%. But eventually we were reinvesting everything we were making back in the business.
So what happened? Did you sell it?
So Mochus happened at the time so I'm a Syrian founder, so I come from Syria, and it happened at the time when the Syrian war was at its peak, and I had to change country. Lucky for me, Mochus, I built it when, without venture backing. So I built it all by myself. So I didn't have to, deal with complexities of closing down shop. I had to close it down because I needed to change country.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. And then taking back one time before that. So you had a company before that called Nabbish, I believe, right? For almost 3 years.
Mm-hmm. And Nabbish
also a marketplace.
Freelance marketplace, yeah. So Nabbish, and so this was in MENA, so Middle East and North Africa. So that is it's a very large and complex region from a population density perspective and geopolitical scenarios. And the issue there is like you have a lot of talented people who don't have access to opportunities, or the other way around, like employers who can't find the talent because of lack of infrastructure. So we wanted to build like the first infrastructure that enables that talent access. We did really well. We became really famous at the time with our work.
What year was your highest revenue year?
So Nabbish, I would say like last year, before Ellie was reaching its highest, revenue. But I would say, I think we were like getting to like 200,000 users, if I remember well.
What was revenue in 2015 at Nabbish? Do you remember?
I don't. I'm sorry, okay. But it wasn't. I wouldn't say it was more than like 50, 60K.
MRR.
Yeah.
Okay, so the reason I ask those questions is your ability to go raise $1 million on 10 for this idea. You've had companies before, you've grown them in revenue, you've fled a war. I mean, this is like, you're an incredible individual. So you were able to point to a lot of this history. So I guess let's flip it back to these first 10 customers you're working with now. Let's say that the test period ends. What's the success metric? How do you know if they're going to pay or not?
Let me share with you like where my ability to raise funding comes from. If I look at what we're building and the massive opportunities that we have right now is basically where this came from. There are a lot of companies building for facilitating for customers to benefit from their own data sets. It's very hard to find a way to, optimize your customer experience with your own data set if you have blind spots. And the potential we're providing is based on the ability to pool data from different companies and build that network effect. And that technology is really hard to build. And like I said, it was an accidental discovery for me. And having like multiple patents pending, that's where all that, the potential came from. And that's where
I
the
see.
came from. Yeah.
But Remo, we have about 2 minutes left here. So like, let's say you're testing with a dating app to detect fake profiles, right? So you're effective. How are you identifying that fake profile so your other customers can know not to, understand that is a fake profile if that person tries to sign up for their account, right? Or their business?
Yeah. So the way we do is like we build like mathematical representations of each person and their activities in an application, so that we don't have to share data between applications. And when that mathematical representation appears in a different application, they know like, oh, that looks fake, using our algorithms. So
So you're a collection of patterns, really. DNA, fake DNA, basically, technological
exactly.
fake DNA.
Correct. Yeah.
Very interesting. So what do you think you'll charge for this? Like, I mean, is this something where you come out of the gate, you're closing $100,000 a year deal, or is it going to be like, a PLG, product led growth motion, $10 a month sort of deal?
I mean, the more users you have, the more users you connect with, the more value you create. So the way we think of it is like, if I can charge a penny per device, we're still, our customers benefiting, we're benefiting.
So that's what you
So
think your model will be per device, penny per device, something like that.
yeah, that's our most educated guest right now. We provide like, a commitment discount, a volume discount.
How many devices are you testing on right now across the 10 test accounts, 10 customers?
About the last test we ran this morning was about a million and a half users with 200 million interactions. Sorry,
200 million interactions. So if 1.5 million users, is one user correlated to one device? It's a one-to-one.
correct. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Okay, I love this. I'm curious what happens once you launch your first paid plan. We'll see what happens. In the meantime, though, here, Rima, let's wrap up with the famous five. Number one, favorite business book.
Favorite business book. I want to say like I'm gonna go a little, be an outlier here. Like I think I love philosophy, so like I read Eastern philosophy. So I'm gonna say my favorite business books come from like the Vedas, which is like the Eastern philosophy of like how to think holistically of the world.
I love that. Number two, is there a CEO you're following or studying?
Yeah, a lot of them. Today, I want to say I'm really impressed by a CEO who's a Canadian CEO for, his name is Ali Fathi. He's the CEO of a fintech company in Canada.
Very cool. Number three, favorite online tool for building Begin.
Favorite online tool for building Begin. We're using HubSpot a lot.
Okay, fair enough. Number four, how many hours of sleep do you get every night?
Well, I try to hit 6, 7 hours if I could, but reality is we're looking at 6 maximum.
And Rima, what's your situation? Married, single, kids?
I'm married with 4-month-old.
Oh, congratulations. Very cool.
Thank you.
And can I ask how old you are?
I'm 33.
33. Last question. Something you wish you knew when you were 20.
Oh boy. Like I feel very lucky because I learned what does it look like to have an executive board in my early 20s. So I think that was really helpful for me. But what I learned the hard way, and I wish I learned the first day, is that every technology is centered about people, around people. So like you have to build a technology person first. And that's why everything we're thinking about, like business model, technology, product, is all like user first.
Guys, Begin.ai will help apps understand what's a fake account. She's building basically technological DNA. And if that DNA or pattern matches across her different customers, they all benefit from learning from each other and still in an anonymized way. No data issues there. She raised $1 million pre-seed on a 10 million pre-money valuation. She was able to raise that valuation because she has successful companies in the past, growing one of them to over $1 million in revenue. She's also a sole founder, owning 100% at start as she looks to scale. Really betting on herself, Rima. We're rooting for you. Thanks for taking us to the top.
Thank you, Nathan.
One more thing before you go. We have a brand new show every Thursday at 1 p.m. Central. It's called Shark Tank for SaaS. We call it Deal or Bust. One founder comes on, 3 hungry buyers, they try and do a deal live, and the founder shares back-end dashboards, their expenses, their revenue, ARPU, CAC, LTV, you name it, they share it. And the buyers try and make a deal live. It is fun to watch every Thursday, 1 p.m. Central. Additionally, remember, these recorded founder interviews go live. We release them here on YouTube every day at 2 p.m. Central. To make sure you don't miss any of that, make sure you click the subscribe button below here on YouTube, the big red button, and then click the little bell notification to make sure you get notifications when we do go live. I wouldn't want you to miss breaking news in the SaaS world, whether it's an acquisition, presentation, a big fundraise, a big sale, a big profitability statement, or something else. I don't want you to miss it. Additionally, if you want to take this conversation deeper and further, we have by far the largest private Slack community for B2B SaaS founders. You want to get in there. We've probably talked about your tool if you're running a company, or your firm if you're investing. You can go in there and quickly search and see what people are saying. Sign up for that at nathanlatka.com/Slack. In the meantime, I'm hanging out with you here on YouTube. I'll be in the comments for the next 30 minutes. Feel free to let me know what you thought about this episode. And if you enjoyed it, click the thumbs up. We get a lot of haters that are mad at how aggressive I am on these shows, but I do it so that we can all learn. We have to counter those people. We got to push them away. Click the thumbs up below to counter them, and know that I appreciate your guys' support. All right, I'll be in the comments. See ya.